As we move forward to understanding all media, we will study now print in a very simple lesson in working with a magazine rate card. In this video lesson, you will learn about working with magazines or print in general. And after you finish this video lesson, you will be able to recognize a media kit and a rate card, understand media terminology associated with magazines, understand the concept of working with magazine rate cards, understand how to calculate a magazine schedule, evaluate magazine ad sizes, and evaluate the inclusion of magazines in a media plan. So again, let's start with the basic terminology that you need to understand. A media kit is a file of information that is important to the buyer to evaluate the media being considered in a media plan or media buy. The media kit is assembled by the media vehicle, let's say a radio or TV station, a magazine, a newspaper, a digital site, out-of-home company, media vendor, or developer in general, in an effort to sell the buyer on their assets and strength in reaching audiences. The media kit includes several pieces of information and varies from media company to media company. Typically, it includes a coverage map or geographical area where a station, TV station, radio station signal reaches, given the strength of their antenna, in the case of broadcast. Rate card, cost efficiencies, information about their audience, promotional opportunities, on-air talent and programming, success case studies, research, and any information that is important to the buyer to reach their intended audiences. A media kit, by the way, can also be referred to in another context as a press kit, but the connotation is different. But it's relevant to other promotional applications. A press kit is a prepackaged set of promotional materials of a person, such as an athlete, a personality, a celebrity, an artist, an executive, etc., that a company or an organization cannot distribute to the member of the journalistic part of the media. And it is for promotional use and used often to announce a release, an event, or to announce a news conference. The intent of the press kit, again, is to get free coverage for the originator in the news and as part of a public relations effort. This is not what we're talking about, but I just wanted to make the distinction. A rate card is a printed list of advertising rates that are charged by that particular media vehicle. Rate cards usually are for guidance only because the actual charges can vary greatly according to the bargaining power of the advertiser and the supply and demand of the inventory by the media at the time of the negotiation. Not every media outlet publishes rate cards, which is in definition more static and less dynamic than avails or inventory availabilities report that we studied in another lesson. Media outlets where the rates are highly subjected to supply of demand of inventory, such as broadcast media, may not publish rate cards as such, but upon buyer's request, stations submit avails or availabilities. Rate cards and or avails include several pieces of information like programming, date parts that are of interest to the buyer, demo audience projection, and rates at the time of the submission, and usually with an expiration date. The difference between the two is very subtle, but they mean the same thing. Rates for inventory the media has to offer. Circulation is the average number of printed copies of a publication, be magazines and newspapers, that will be distributed in a standard period, such as day, week, or month. A buyer evaluates publications on circulation numbers, which is subject to the same downsize of all media. Buying a publication based on how many printed copies they print and distribute, whether the publication is free or sold through newsstands or subscription, does not guarantee that the advertising message will be seen by the audience. regardless of the imperfect nature of a potential exposure versus real exposure, or if the ad was actually seen, it is the currency on which advertising industry bases their evaluations to buy, sell, and plan media. Pass-along readership is another concept, and what this means is the actual measure of how many readers each copy of the publication has, from the original recipient plus additional readers. In other words, the potential audience of a magazine circulation can multiply exponentially if the pass-along readership is high. Buyer beware and be cautious of pass-along readership numbers reported by the media unless this number is audited and substantiated by a reputable source accepted by the buyer. Composition or audience composition are the characteristics that define an audience. The characteristics can be demographics such as age and gender, education levels, geographic location, income, and other ways that the audience can be described or behaves. In 2012, the Audit Bureau of Circulation, or ABC, changed its name to the Alliance for Audited Media, or AAM. Some old-timers like myself still remember the ABC days. The definition offered in their website reads as follows. The Alliance for Audited Media is the recognized leader in cross-media verification with unparalleled expertise across all brand platforms, including web, mobile, email, and print. They were founded in 1914 as the Audit Bureau of Circulation, or ABC, to bring order and transparency to the media industry. Today, more than 4,000 publishers, advertiser agencies, and technology vendors depend on their data-driven insights, technology certification audits, and information services to transact media with trust. In print, what this means is that the AAM is the industry source for audited print media along with their digital versions to verify readership, circulation, subscriber demographic, digital activity metrics for leading content providers or media. They are the on-site verifications and audience certification authority, just like Nielsen and any other industry-accepted third-party auditor, in order to verify whether or not the reported circulation numbers or audience is accurate. These numbers are accurate. The important question to ask as a buyer or a planner to any printed publication is whether they're audited and by whom. The media kit should contain this information as well. This is important because it is not the audience number the media itself could report, which could be inflated. The numbers are verified by a third-party industry-accepted entity. We're living in an era where magazines are not just magazines, but they're literally cross-platform media brands. Nowadays, magazines are extended beyond the physical printed copy sold in the newsstands or received via email by subscribers. Magazines have extensions in social media such as Twitter followers or app downloads or Pinterest pins or e-newsletters in digital versions, of course, that go above and beyond their audited print subscribers and newsstand sales. Additionally, digital versions are accessed through mobile, platform, and computer devices. The data offered by AAM assist buyers to get a real handle on audience numbers in all media metrics considered. Audience numbers in circulation, digital traffic, coverage, composition, social media interactions that exponentially extends the reach and impressions of the publication. Making available content through multiple platforms to audiences also allows the magazines to maximize the inventory to sell. With all these cross-media platforms that add eyeballs or impressions to the print circulation audience of a magazine through digital and mobile devices, we will concentrate this lesson on calculating magazine costs and learning how to read a traditional magazine rate card. We will also look at and calculate pass-along readership. In another lesson, you will learn how to interpret digital rates and audience data. So now let's start. Okay, so please refer to the video lesson PowerPoint. So let's understand the rate card and conditions. What is a full rate? What is a volume discount? The rate card tells you several things. Notice that all rates reflected in this particular rate card are gross, meaning that the 15% agency commission is already added to the price. The rates that you see in this particular rate card in the PowerPoint are for single insertions, meaning one time. The rates reflected vary by ad size, whether they're black and white or full color, and if they're covers. On the subject of covers, if you take any magazine, for example, when you see the magazine, the front cover, you always understand that it generally does not have advertising. So you have 3 covers to choose from. The back cover, so you have the magazine, the front cover, the back cover gets the most impressions. So generally is most expensive. The inside front cover with the second most impression. So when you open the magazine, right, you have the front cover and the inside front cover. And that's the second most expensive. And the inside back cover with the third most impression. So that's the least expensive of all covers. Just hold a magazine in your hands and see which cover you notice first, second, and third. Remember that media is priced by supply and demand, but can also deliver the most eyeballs or impressions. Now you have to look at 2 things to do this calculation. The rate card and the magazine buy dictating the ad sizes you're buying and how many. So you have to organize your number by what you're buying and at what rate. So let's do a little bit of putting the numbers here. So what is the buy? You have a full page, full color, right? FP, full page, FC, full color. And the rate card tells you that it costs $163,960 for one insertion. And remember, all rates are gross, okay? Secondly, and by the way, you're buying 4 of these ads. The second one is a 2/3 page. And again, you have to look at the rate card to see where these rates are coming from. So you have a 2/3 page full color ad, and the price for this one is $131,190, and you're buying 6 of these. Again, this is gross. The third one that you're buying is a half page, black and white, and the price for this one is $85,245 gross, and you're buying 9 of these. Let me make sure all my numbers are good. Yes. Okay, so now you're buying 1 cover, number 2, and the price for your cover number 2 is $204,960 gross. You're buying 1 of these. and you're buying one cover number 4, and the price for this one is $213,160 gross, and you're buying one of these. Okay? So this is the, this is the lay of the land. This is your buy. You look at the rate card and you basically lay it out as such. Now what you have to do now is technically multiply the, and again, this is very simple. You multiply the full single insertion rate times how many pages you have. So you go line by line, multiplying the full rate times your number of pages. So you do all this multiplication. I'm not going to do it here, but you do all the multiplication. 4 times 163,960, 6 times 131,190, 9 times 9 pages times 85,245, 1 204,960, and 1 time 213,160. Okay, so when you do your multiplication and you're at it, your total gross budget, again, remember this is gross, your total gross placement or budget is $2,628,305. Okay, so $2,628,305. That's your total gross. Again, this is an important number. So now let me go ahead and erase here for a minute. So now what we need to do next, because these are gross, is basically calculate the 15% agency commission and then get the total net budget. So you've added all the numbers again, and you got $2,628,305. That's your total gross budget. Okay? So now that you calculated the total gross budget, now you have to calculate the 15% agency commission and your total net budget. So you've added all the numbers and you got $2,628,305 total gross budget. Now, since the rates are gross, you have to calculate the agency commission at 15%. So let's say agency commission which is 15%. So here is a simple 0.15. So it's 2,628,305 times 0.15 equals 300 and, you multiply the 0.15 times this number, and then whatever you get, you subtract it from your total and your agency commission. And again, you've seen this in another video lesson, but it's $394,245.75. That's your agency commission. Now, let's calculate now. Let me put this maybe in another color. No, let's keep it here. So this is your total gross budget, your agency commission, and now to calculate your total net budget, it's a simple subtraction of the total gross budget minus your agency commission to get your total net budget. So your total net budget, once you do this subtraction, is $2,234,059.45. Let me make sure. Okay. $2,234,059.25. Again, this is in your PowerPoint. So now, now that you have your total gross budget, agency commission, total net budget, let's use this radio rate card and the media buy, and let's see how these results are reported. So now you spent $2,628,305 gross. So this is how much money you spent gross. Again, because we're dealing with gross rates, the agency commission at 15% is $394,000, 245 with 75 cents. This is the commission since we're working with a gross rate card. So when you subtract the agency commission from the gross budget, you end up with $2,234,059 with 25 cents. This is your total net budget. Technically, this is what is paid to the media. Now, keep in mind, given the compensation models we have discussed earlier in the course, if the client honors the 15% commission and lets the agency keep it as pay for their work, that's between them. Regardless, if the rate card shows that the rates are gross, that automatically implies a 15% markup. Whether the agency gets to keep it, that's another story, okay? So now what we're going to do is take it even a step further, okay? So now let me erase all this. So let's take it a step further, and let's understand what happens when you add circulation numbers. Remember that we defined circulation and pass along readership already. So let's say that, let's say that for this magazine buy, the publication you are considering has a monthly circulation, so this is a monthly, of 750,000 printed copies. This is 750,000 copies per month. And they have so your number of readers per copy are 4 readers per copy. And let's say that your campaign is going to run for 3 months. Okay? So let's assume that these circulation numbers and these pass-along readership numbers have been audited. The buyer does not have any issues with them. This is a very simple calculation where the formula is circulation or printed numbers times number of readers per copy times length of the campaign. So now you have 750,000 circulation times 4 readers per copy. So that equals 3 million monthly readers, potentially, right? So these are your number of readers or your impressions, okay? So then if you multiply your 3 million readers times 3 months length of the campaign, your gross impressions for this campaign, 3 million per month times 3 months, your gross impressions are 9 million potential exposures for the ad. Hope this is clear. This is a very simple calculation. So now we're going to take it even a step further. Let me erase this. So now let's calculate the CPM for this magazine schedule. Remember that the formula for calculating CPM, let me go to the next slide. Okay, Let me park myself here. So remember that the formula for calculated CPM is the total budget divided by gross impressions, which is divided by 1,000. So let's do the CPM on the gross and the net budgets, just to have and compare. It really depends on whether you're working with a gross or a net budget. So now, the numbers that you have is a total gross budget, and let's write it down again. Gross budget and let me put here net budget. Actually, let me write it so I don't run out of, let me move it a little bit to the side. So let's say gross budget net budget, okay? So you have a gross budget of $2,628,305. And you have a total net budget of $2,234,059 with 25 cents. And you had your total readership or audience or gross impressions, let's put here gross impressions, based on the pass along readership and, you know, all that formula that we just did, of 9 million gross impressions. So it's a simple division. So the formula is total gross or net budget divided by gross impressions, which is further divided into 1,000, it equals the CPM. So let's say that, let's do the division here really quick, right? And you get 9,000 here. Remember that you are calculating the cost to reach 1,000 people, right? So dividing the gross budget by 9,000, your gross CPM is $292 with 3 cents. This is your gross CPM, $292 with 3 cents. Now, if we do the same calculation, right? The same calculation here on the net looks a little better, but it's $248 with 23 cents CPM. Now, reporting the numbers is that you have a total gross budget of $2,628 and $2,628,305. That's your gross budget. You have an agency commission, 15%, of $394,245 with 75 cents. You have a total net budget of $2,234,059 with 25 cents. This is what's paid to the media. You have 9 million gross impressions based on, you know, a campaign that will run for 3 months with 4 readers per copy and 750,000 copies per month. So this gives you a CPM gross of $292.03. This is what's going to cost you to reach 1,000 people in placement in this particular publication if you're working with a gross budget. And if you're working with a net budget, it will cost you $248 with 23 cents. This is if you're working with a net budget. Is this CPM cheap or expensive? We really don't know unless we compare it in the market and against other competitive media or even other media. Remember that this media efficiency measure is always relative and can be tracked and compared to see if we're being efficient or if we need to deliver schedule and impressions even more cost efficiently. Understanding the numbers and how to use them is always the first step in becoming a skilled planner, a buyer, or a negotiator. So just continue practicing and I'll see you in the next video lesson.